Should you be afraid of buying a Queenslander? Is it going to fall apart? Will all the cladding fall down and will the storms blow it away? Or are the floods going to rise up and fill the house full of water? What are the things to look out for when buying a Queenslander? And can you handle the maintenance and the issues and the headaches that might come with it for either investment or buying a Queenslander for your own home? My name is Luke and I talk about all things property, investing and renovations. My wife Emily and I have had a little bit of experience buying Queenslanders and renovating them over time. In today's video, I'm going to run through my thoughts on Queenslanders and why I do think they're a great home if they're the right fit for you, and how you can get around some of the maintenance and the issues that you have, and what to look out for if you're going to buy a Queenslander yourself. So if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel somewhere down below and drop a like on this video if you find any of this information useful or interesting, or you're just scrolling YouTube because you want to. Let's start from the top. So what is a Queenslander and what do they look like? They're typically made with a number of gables out the front of the house that give them quite a distinct roof line. It can be a single gable, a double gable, or triple gables, and some go crazy with more than that. Now, what is the house wrapped with? And that's typically weatherboards. Timber weatherboards that can be of varying sizes, some thin and some large, that wrap all the way around the home to make it watertight. The roof of a Queenslander is typically tin or ColourBond, and the way the house is built is through hardwood timber as the structural beams within the house that frame up the rooms and particularly connect the house to the stumps. Now, the stumps of the house can either be concrete or metal, depending on if they've been replaced or repaired at some point. And that gives you a general overview of what a Queenslander looks like. I probably don't need to describe it to you in any more detail than that, as we can throw up some photos of what classic Queenslanders look like and what our Queenslander looks like at the moment, which is a bit of a plug for our renovation series, the Triple Gabled Queenslander, where we're renovating this house right here. You can see all the historical stuff that we've done, and eventually we're going to get to finishing off the outside of this house, hopefully in the next 6 months, and we're going to take you along for the ride, so definitely subscribe for that. Alright, so let's address some of the worries people have about Queenslanders and how you may or may not be able to get around them. So you're looking at buying a Queenslander, and what are some common pitfalls? So let's begin with the all-dreaded pest inspection. That is termites and borers in particular. Now, borers are a little beetle that can burrow into the timber boards, and everyone's kind of heard of termites, which eat away at the timber. And in fact, we found out that not all termites are subterranean, which means that they have a mud trail. Some termites can be dry wood, and they can live in the timbers within your house. Now, when buying a Queenslander, this is always a common issue and a common case to be aware of, and you may even find some historical termite damage on your property. The important thing to remember here is to factor it into your price and your negotiations, as you can typically get a vendor to reduce their price significantly if you are able to identify termite activity in and around the home, and you can use it as a bargaining tool. Now, it's important to check the structural components of the home and make sure that the hardwood is in good place, or the beams that run under the house and in the roof line, as they're the critical things holding up the home. But some general termite damage to the facade or to decking, for example, can not be a major issue depending on the home. So the key thing is to be aware of it and to mitigate it in your price expectations when buying the home. Another big factor that people have issues with are the weatherboards on Queenslanders and the maintenance. Now, the maintenance, people say, is a lot more than brick, which is true, but again, you need to factor this in if you're buying for investment or buying for your own home, that you're probably going to need to paint and patch your home every 10 to 15 years. Now, if you're going to do that yourself, it can be quite cost effective, but if you're going to employ that work out to other people, it might cost you anywhere between $5,000 to $15,000 to have your home sanded back, replace some rotten boards, and have it repainted. Now, that's probably money well spent because you probably want to change the colors of your home over that period of time as trends change. And so to me, having issues with water and wood rot and the exterior of the home becoming dated and worn over time don't really worry me. Timber is a hardy product and it's been used in building homes for a long time. So this general wear and tear, from our point of view, is nothing to significantly worry about. Now the next one are Queenslanders Roofs. They can have quite interesting roof lines, as we discussed at the start, with multiple gables, and the tin roofs can rust and wear over time. Now doing a roof replacement can be very expensive. You could be looking at $30,000 to $40,000 depending on the roof space and the difficulty of doing the eaves and awnings on your house, and having all of that replaced when you're getting a roof and gutter and fascia repair. So you need to take that into account when making a purchase for a Queenslander. Now you can patch specific sections of the roof, and my dad and I did that on our very first renovation. We jumped up on the first house that we ever bought, which was a large Queenslander, and we resprayed the entire tin roof that was rusting, patched the holes, and we knew that we were going to get another 5 or 10 years life out of doing that work. It's important to just be mindful that this is not a forever fix and that you're going to have to potentially pay for a new roof down the track, but it shouldn't be a deal breaker as long as the numbers work for you. So we've gone through termites, we've gone through the exterior, and we've gone through the roof. Now let's go through the all dreaded flood zone and why Queenslanders are built up off the ground. So when looking at the location of your home, plenty of Queenslanders are placed in flood-prone areas, which are low-lying, and in peak flood seasons, when we have torrential rain and creeks and waterways fill up, some of those homes may flood. Now, depending on your risk profile and what you're interested in and what you think might hold value, you may or may not buy in a flood-prone area. Emily and I tend to steer clear. Now, this goes contrary to what some other property commentators might say, but we prefer to never buy in a flood zone unless it's a very low risk. We consider buying in a flood zone if a corner of the property might flood, but not the house. But it's very important to us to buy in an area that the house would maintain where it is and not be swept away or flooded up and cause damage and insurance claims. Now this is on personal opinion, so you might be happy to buy in a flood zone, and the key thing is to look at historical flood records and flood levels and see if the house had flooded previously. If you're okay with that and you're okay with that risk, by all means move on in the buying process for purchasing that home. But for us, that is one of the things that is a deal breaker. Now we've run through a lot of things about Queenslanders and what to look out for when you're making a purchase for a Queenslander. But the biggest thing that we haven't talked about so far is the character of a home and the characters that Queenslanders have. They have this charm and they have this appeal that, although they require a little bit more love and maintenance, you're going to have happy tenants who are cool in summer and warm in winter, depending on how well insulated your Queenslander is. But they have a breezy home that suits this Queensland environment and is loved by everyone up here in Queensland. Most of these homes were built pre-war, and that means that they're likely to be protected by the local councils that they're in. The council's trying to preserve the history of the buildings here in Queensland, so it's to be mindful of that if you're going to undertake major renovations or extensions on those homes. We love the Queenslanders that we've bought, and that's all we've bought so far. Now, I don't want to have a portfolio filled with Queenslander homes because we will be hit with unexpected maintenance over time, but we haven't shied away from buying them because the opportunities have been so great up here, given the timing and the cycle of the market that we're in here in Brisbane. So we haven't shied away from making those Queenslander purchases for our first 3 properties in our portfolio. And going forward, if there are opportunities to buy Queenslanders and the numbers make sense for our strategy at that point in time, we'll be more than happy to buy another Queenslander again. They are great homes, they are filled with character, they just need some love and attention typically to bring them up to modern standards and give them more of an open plan. All in all, a Queenslander can be a great purchase for investment or for your principal place of residence. You just need to be mindful of the points I've discussed in this video and take all things into consideration when making your purchase. If you'd like to hear more about Queenslanders or see renovations on them, make sure you subscribe to this channel, Drop a like on this video and leave a comment down below. See you in the next video. Peace. It's a clad home that's built with brick. That's built with brick. What an idiot. What an idiot. Getting flustered.